Hi, I'm Monica, and this is Homemade with Monica. As you can see, I have some branches from a pine tree. I think this is from a cedar tree, and this is a white pine of sorts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a very luxurious swag for your front door, or even to hang in your dining room, in the house, anywhere you want that fresh pine scent. You're going to find it here. So here's what we do. You want to find your largest, your broadest branch, which is this one right here. And this is going to be our base. We're not going to be using like a styrofoam form that you would have to use for a wreath or something like that. So we're just going to be very natural. You find your largest branch, and that's going to be your base. And then, because these two branches are somewhat similar, I kind of want to mix it up with this cedar, and it has a nice different texture, different color, and it's going to create just some additional dimension. Now, if I wanted to, I could leave it like this, but I want things to be even fluffier and bigger. My mother used to make these. In fact, she still does make these for her front door, and my gosh, I have to tell you, hers would be like this fat, and you kind of had to reach around to get the door, to open the door. It was crazy, but they were always beautiful. And she was lucky enough to have a holly bush in her yard with plenty of red berries, and it would just adorn her front door. Well, I don't have the benefit of a holly tree or holly branches, so what I did was I went out to the dollar store and I found some really inexpensive decorations that we're going to use here right now. So here are my decorations. I have some glittery branches, some holly berry, as I mentioned. I do like that. I also got these golden bells. They're going to really jazz it up. Some glittery poinsettias, and of course my handy dandy glue gun and a pair of kitchen scissors, which I only use these to cut off the price tag, so I don't know that we'll be using them again, but we'll just put them here just in case. All right, so we have our branches, and the other thing I picked up at the dollar store were these little, I guess, fir tree covered wires that I'm just going to use to tie everything together. No one's going to notice it because it will match. I've also used twine. I've used, oh gosh, there was one year where I took electrical tape, like not electrical tape, but duct tape, and I taped it to itself, and I just made a string. This place is begging for some holly branches and some pine cone action. We're going to put some down there too. So all you're doing right now, you're not taking out your glue gun unless you're really brave, in which case get out your glue gun and just, put them where you want them. But I want to see how it shapes up, and if I have to move one or two, I'll move one or two. Oops, there we go. All right, now you're going to, So we've just put our greens and our twigs here in our spray, and I think it looks pretty good. I think so. So what I'm going to do is I have my glue gun. It's already heated up. I'm going to take some glue and just go on the edge here like that. And then I'm going to put it in. And then just for extra security, you can take, like a bead of glue gun glue on one of the leaves. If you can see up close, I have this leaf here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some glue right there and put the leaf, directly glue it to the branch. That's just extra security. You don't have to do that. Where we live, it gets pretty windy sometimes, and so I just want to make sure that, our creation doesn't suffer. But you're just going to hold down your branch until the glue kind of cools off and adheres to the branch or wherever you want to, You don't have to. I tend to do it just because I want to make sure that it's secured. And you're going to do that for each one of your sprigs. But again, you don't have to, because the way, Mother Nature makes these greens pretty sticky in terms of friction. And so when you have a long stem like we're using here, they just fold in and get braided into the greenery naturally. So they don't go very far.
Glue gun, where can you buy that?
You can buy the glue gun. You can buy a glue gun at any craft store, Target, Walmart. They're super inexpensive. I mean, I think this was probably less than $5, but This is also a miniature glue gun because I'm not someone who crafts every day. So I don't want a glue gun that's going to take up a lot of room. This, I can put it in a Ziploc bag with the glue sticks and put it in the drawer of my desk, and it's out of the way, and it's just easier for me that way. But, you know, if you like a bigger glue gun, by all means, you can use any glue gun. Once you're done securing everything, you know, the first few sprigs that we glued on are already dry and secured. So what we're doing is, again, just going around. This is what I call insurance. A little bit of glue, and that way you're not picking greenery up off of your porch if it's a windy night. This is definitely an activity that the whole family can do. You could send the kids out in the backyard or at a park or wherever you might find big trees where there might be fallen branches or pine cones or berries. Send them out on a scavenger hunt and have your glass of wine while they're outside looking. It's definitely one of those when you're in the car and you say, okay, let's play the quiet game and see who can be quiet the longest. So you say to your kids, hey, we're going to make homemade Christmas decorations. Go out in the yard and find twigs and pine cones and berries and gather them all up, leave them on the back step, and let me know when you're ready for me to come to inspect. And that'll buy you some, you know, quiet time in the house. Now, I bought these two little bells from the dollar store. Again, $1.25 each, Dollar Tree. And they're going to make a nice focal point for our creation. And at the top, you'll see they have the fur-covered wire that I talked about earlier. I have one of those branches right here. So what you do is you can either lace them jointly and affix them to, you know, your main branch. Just tie them. It's just like a twist tie, you know, for like a loaf of bread. You just do that. And you really don't have to be very neat about it because they're camouflaged so well. And they already have the decoration on top with the holly and the velvet ribbon. And so next, we are ready to put our bow on. This is a bow I made a little bit ago. And what it is, you can see if we can get a tight shot of that. It's just loops of ribbon. And I then cut off a piece of the ribbon and tied it around here. And that's what you see here, right? So just tied it. And so then all you do is pull your loops apart and fluff them out. There's no wrong way to do it. If you don't like the way it turns out, well, untie it and make another one. It's really, really very easy. So, and this is ribbon that I, again, got at Dollar Tree. We have this great bow, and we're going to put it like right there. But I think it's nice to have some trailing ribbon down the front. So this was one spool of 12 feet. Don't have to make it that big, but just for point of reference, that's what you have. So we're just gonna, remember when I said I didn't think I'd need the scissors? Well, always good to have handy. I'm just gonna open that, cellophane. I'm just gonna untie it. Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. So let's see, how long do we want our tails? Let's see, I think like that. Coming down, I think that would be nice. And you know, the other thing is, because this is your creation, if you want to go nuts with the ribbon, which my husband complains I go nuts with the ribbon, you can. So one of the things that you could do to make it even jazzier, you have these long tails from the bow that we were putting on. You can make shorter tails as well, just to give it some dimension and texture. Don't have to, but you know, if you're so inclined, it's super easy. So you have your middle point of each tail. You just put them together and you tie them right there. Now, because we have more of these just hanging around, I'm going to use this just because it's handy. But if I had like a little scrap piece of ribbon, I would use that. But I don't want to cut into the spool if I don't have to, because otherwise you get waste and it's just a pain in the neck. All right. So what you can do, you just loop through, right here. Just going to loop through there. And then you tie it, let's see, get a hold of it. Now it's okay if you flatten your bow, don't worry about it, it's no big deal. Because remember, you can jazz it up again. It's not a problem. And once again, we are just wrapping this around like you would tie up a loaf of bread.
How do you get underneath there?
You just reach underneath. Because it's only 3 branches wide, it's not too thick. But I am going to show you how to make a, well, you don't really need a hook because you can just hook it onto the branches, but I will show you how to make one in case you want one. So here we are, just shaping a ribbon, braided into your greenery, so pretty, you know, have it come out. And what's great about this ribbon is it's wired ribbon, so you can kind of mold it a little bit if you want. You don't have to. You don't have to use wire ribbon. I've used, plain old, velvet ribbon that I've gotten on a spool of 75 yards for $12 at Walmart. You can use whatever you have handy. You don't even have to put a bow on it if you don't want to. I just love ribbon. I'm using wired ribbon here. You don't have to. You can use whatever you have, on hand. If you don't have ribbon on hand, like me, a crazy ribbon lady, you don't have to put it in if you don't want to. Make it more rustic like this piece we have here. It doesn't have trailing ribbon. It doesn't have a lot of glitter to it. It just has a very warm, homey vibe. Very, very Williamsburg, if you will. So now remember, we kind of beat up our bow a few minutes ago when we were putting this on. So we're just going to fluff it up and reshape it. So here we are. This is it. This is our homemade swag for a front door. Really very luxurious. Again, courtesy of Dollar Tree and just some branches that I managed to pick up. Very easy, didn't take a lot of time, and it makes a big impression.